Once upon a time, there was a man who had an only son. They were so poor when the man died, all that he left his son was a sword, a small coin purse, and some dry bread crust. As nothing remained for him at home, the boy took his few belongings and set on the world to seek his fortune. His way lay across a mountain, and when he had climbed high enough to get a view of his surroundings, he spotted a lion, a falcon, and an ant quarreling over a dead horse. The boy was frightened at the sight of the lion and wanted to hide, but the lion saw him and called for him to come and settle their quarrel. The boy went over and took a good look. Then he pulled out his sword and divided the horse as best he could. To the lion he gave the large joint, saying that the lion should have the most, for he is the biggest and the strongest. He gave the liver and tasty tidbits to the falcon. The falcon should have the tastiest bit, for he is much a dainty eater. Last he gave the head to the ant, for he likes creeping in nooks and crannies, he said. The three animals were so pleased with the clever way that the boy had divided the horse that they wanted to reward him. But the boy just smiled. "If I have helped you, that is reward enough for me." Still, the animals insisted. "If there is nothing else you want, perhaps you would like 3 wishes, the lion said. The boy liked that idea, but he could not think of what to wish for. "Would you like to be able to turn into a lion?" asked the lion. "And a falcon, and an ant." The boy thought this might be useful, so he made those 3 wishes. Immediately he went away, his sword and sack, and turned himself into a falcon. He bristled his new wings, tested them on the wind a few times, and took off. He flew over mountains, valleys, and forest. As he flew over a large lake, his wings became so sore that he could hardly fly on. As he spotted a huge rocky crag in the lake, and he landed there. It was an odd-looking rock, jagged and rough, with a large outcropping on one side. Being curious, he changed himself to an ant and spent some time exploring it. After he had rested, he became the falcon again and flew all the way to the king's farm. There he landed on a branch outside the princess's window. There he saw the bird. She thought it so beautiful and wanted to keep it. She coaxed it to her. As soon as the bird came into her room, she slammed the window shut and locked him in a cage. The boy was not worried. When night came, he just turned himself into an ant and crawled out of the cage. When he became a boy again, and went and sat down by the sleeping princess, she woke and screamed with fright, but the boy calmed her. "Why do you scream so? I am not going to hurt you." "I thought you were the troll that I've been promised to." "How in the world did you get promised to a troll?" asked the boy. "2 other trolls have already stolen my sisters," said the princess, "and now a horrible monster with 9 heads wants me for his bride, or he will destroy my father's kingdom. Every Thursday the troll sends a messenger, a dragon with 9 heads. My father has managed to hold him off by feeding him pigs, 1 for each head. Now there's almost no pigs left in the entire kingdom, and I am scared to walk outside." When the boy heard this, he was determined to battle the dragon. The very next morning he went to the king and told him. The king was well pleased, and as it happened to be Thursday, the boy immediately set out to the field where the dragon came to retrieve the pigs. Soon enough, a large serpentine shape with enormous webbed wings lashed the air. Its 9 heads spouted fiery flames that swooped down. When there was no sight of its meal, it roared and spat, then lifted its enormous body and charged at the boy, as if it was going to swallow him alive. In a twinkling, the boy became a lion, reared up on its hind legs and leapt at the dragon, sinking his teeth deep into the scaly body. The lion tore off 1 head after another, till at last only the 9th head was left, but it was the strongest head. In its mouth were 9 forked tongues, and it spouted blazing venom as it lashed its mighty tail and attacked. But the lion was ready. He jumped nimbly aside, leaped upon the back of the dragon, and bit off the less head. Now the boy went to the king with the good news, and the king and the princess were overjoyed. The king wanted to reward the boy, but he just smiled and said, "If I had helped you, then that is more than enough for me." The king insisted that there must be something he wanted. Finally, the princess leaned over and whispered into her father's ear. With a smile, the king turned, saying, "My daughter says that there is nothing else you want. Perhaps you would like her for your bride." The boy thought this was an excellent idea, and so it was settled that he was to marry the princess. Everyone was happy indeed. The boy and the princess were so happy that they forgot about the troll and went walking in the garden to plan their wedding. Suddenly, the horrible troll with 9 heads came upon them, seized the princess, and flew off with her through the air. The boy ran to tell the king, then changed into a falcon and sped off. By now the princess and the troll were out of sight, but the falcon knew in the direction in which he had seemed to go. Soon he came back to a large lake where he remembered the mysterious rock that he had seen during his first flight. He swooped down and changed into an ant and crept through the crack in the rock. He crawled further and further down until he came to a locked door. But, knowing what to do, he just crept through the keyhole. On the other side of the door was a large hall. There he saw a princess rubbing the heads of a troll who had 3 heads. "This must be the right way," the boy said to himself, for he realized that this is one of the king's older daughters. He crawled on, and after a while he came to a second locked door, again creeping through the keyhole. This time he came to a room where there was another princess sat rubbing the heads of a troll with 6 heads. Now he knew he was on the right path, and he hurried on. Finally he came to a third locked door. On the other side sat the youngest princess with a troll who had 9 heads. He scurried over the floor, crept up her leg, and pinched her. She knew that it had to be the boy wanting to speak to her, and she asked the big troll permission to go outside. Outside, the boy peered in his own shape. "How are we going to get you away from here?" he said. "I don't know," said the princess, "but I will ask the troll some questions. Perhaps he will tell us something useful." The boy turned back into an ant and settled on her foot. The princess returned to the troll, and after a while she began to sigh and appear lost in thought. "What is all this moaning about?" roared the troll. "You are forgetting to rub my head. The pain is coming back." "Oh, it's just that I am so sad, thinking that perhaps I shall never see my father again," said the princess. "That's right. You never will," gloated the troll. "You are mine now." "Is there really no other way to see my dear father and my dear country again?" "There is only one way, but no one will ever discover it," said the troll. "It is a secret." The princess took the troll's biggest head into her lap and began to rub it. "Perhaps you will tell me. There is no harm in that, surely." The troll thought about this. No harm, he said. "For it is impossible to guess, and even more impossible to do, even if you knew the secret." The princess rubbed the head even more. Finally, the troll could keep his clever secret no longer. "To free you, someone must find the grain of sand and under the 9th tongue and the 9th head of the dragon, and drop the grain down the crack in the rock above us, and then, and only then, will you be free. But nobody will ever guess that," he said, thinking himself very clever indeed. The boy wasted no time, scurrying through each door, through the keyholes, and turning into the falcon again, to reach to where the dragon laid, and eventually found the grain of sand. As he dropped the grain from his beak, suddenly the rock cracked asunder, and the sun shone straight on to the 3 trolls sitting there. With a tremendous explosion, the trolls burst and turned into stone. The boy and the 3 princesses returned to their king, and he and the youngest princess were married. Such is the tale of the boy who became a lion, a falcon, and an ant. Thank you for watching.